Who's the hardest to love based on Zodiac? Before we begin, let me say this clearly. Hard to love doesn't mean unlovable. It means a sign has stronger walls, sharper instincts, deeper pride, or higher standards, the kind of traits that make love feel like a test before it becomes a home. Some signs are hard to love because they don't trust easily, others because they won't tolerate games, some because they disappear when they're hurt, and some because they love so intensely that it scares people away before the bond has time to grow. But here's the truth you need to hear. The hardest signs to love often become the most loyal once they choose you. Their love is not easy, it's earned, it's built, it's proven, and when it finally arrives, it's not temporary. This ranking is about what most people struggle with: emotional availability, consistency, vulnerability, control vs. freedom, sensitivity vs. pride, the fear of being truly seen. So don't take this as a judgment, take it as a map, because if you understand why a sign is difficult, you also learn the key that unlocks them. And now, let's reveal the ranking. The rating: 1 equals hardest to love. 1. Scorpio. 2. Aquarius. 3. Capricorn. 4. Virgo. 5. Aries. 6. Gemini. 7. Sagittarius. 8. Leo. 9. Taurus. 10. Libra. 11. Cancer. 12. Pisces. Easiest to love. Scorpio. Hardest to love because love feels like truth-serum. Scorpio doesn't date, Scorpio investigates. You can feel their eyes reading between your words, measuring your honesty, scanning your energy for betrayal that hasn't even happened yet. And that's the first reason they're hard to love. They don't give trust, they test for it. You can be loyal for months and Scorpio will still wonder, is this real? Or is this just a phase? Scorpio is hard to love because they love with their whole nervous system. They don't do casual. They don't do shallow. They don't do half-truths. When Scorpio loves you, it's intense, consuming, almost spiritual, and that intensity scares people who prefer love that's light and easy. They want depth, loyalty, honesty, and emotional bravery. And if you can't handle depth, you'll feel like you're drowning. Their shadow is control. Scorpio hates uncertainty, so they try to manage it. They want to know where you are emotionally at all times. If they sense distance, they don't ask sweetly, they feel it as danger. And when hurt, Scorpio's defense can be icy, silent, or painfully precise. They remember what you said 3 years ago. They don't forget wounds, they archive them. But here's why Scorpio is worth it. Once you prove you're safe, they become the most protective, loyal lover in the zodiac. The key to loving Scorpio is simple but not easy. Be honest, be consistent, and don't play games. Scorpio can forgive almost anything, except deception. Aquarius hard to love because their heart lives behind glass. Aquarius is hard to love because you can't chase them the usual way. They don't respond to clinginess. They don't melt just because someone cries. They don't like emotional pressure. Aquarius needs space the way other signs need affection, and that confuses partners who equate love with constant closeness. Their biggest difficulty is emotional detachment. Aquarius can love you deeply and still look calm, even distant, like nothing touches them. It's not because they don't feel, it's because they process feelings through the mind first. They analyze, they rationalize, they intellectualize, and while they're thinking, their partner can feel abandoned. Aquarius also has a rebellious streak. The moment they feel controlled, they pull away. They need freedom, individuality, and respect. If you try to own them, they'll become the coldest sign you've ever met, not out of cruelty, but out of self-protection. They can disappear into friends, ideas, work, or a new obsession and forget to give you the reassurance you need. But the magic of Aquarius is rare. They love you for who you truly are, not for how well you perform. The key to loving Aquarius is friendship plus freedom plus honesty. Don't trap them, inspire them. And once Aquarius chooses you, they can be wildly loyal in a quiet way, not possessive, but committed in their own universe. Capricorn hard to love because they don't fall, they decide. Capricorn doesn't fall in love fast. They evaluate love like a long-term investment. Will this last? Is this stable? Is this person responsible? Will they ruin my peace? That's why Capricorn is hard to love. They don't surrender easily. They've learned that feelings are not enough. They want proof. Capricorn is also hard to love because they can be emotionally guarded. They don't like being needy, and they don't like partners who are. They respect strength, ambition, self-control. So when they're vulnerable, they can feel ashamed, and instead of opening up, they may become colder, stricter, more focused on work. People mistake that for lack of love, but it's often fear of losing control. Their shadow is criticism and rigidity. Capricorn can expect too much and show affection to little. They may believe love is built through responsibilities, not romance. And their partner may feel like they're dating a CEO instead of a soulmate. And if Capricorn is hurt, they won't explode. They'll detach, quietly close the door, and never look back. But when Capricorn loves you, it's real, it's loyal, it's protective. It's "I'll handle life with you." The key is patience and trust. Don't demand their softness, create safety for it. Capricorn's heart is not loud, but it's strong enough to carry you. Virgo hard to love because they notice everything. Virgo is hard to love because you can't hide your chaos from them. They'll see the inconsistency in your story, the mood shift behind your smile, the pattern you pretend isn't there. Virgo loves with precision, and that can feel like judgment to someone who just wants acceptance. Their mind never stops. Virgo overthinks love, analyzes texts, studies tone, worries about what's coming next. They often want the right relationship, not just a passionate one, and their high standards can make a partner feel like they're always being measured. Virgo is hard to love because vulnerability is difficult for them. They're afraid of messy emotions, so they try to fix them. They help, but it can sound like criticism. They correct, adjust, improve, and when they're stressed, they can become nitpicky, distant, or cold. Not because they don't care, but because their nervous system goes into control mode. Yet Virgo's love is devotion. If they choose you, they will show up for your life in 1,000 small ways. The key to loving Virgo is consistency, honesty, and appreciation. Tell them, you don't have to earn love by being perfect. When Virgo feels safe, they become one of the gentlest partners, soft, loyal, and deeply protective. Aries hard to love because they're a fire you can't hold. Aries is hard to love because they move fast and they feel everything like a spark. They fall quickly, get bored quickly, forgive quickly, explode quickly. Their emotions are honest, but not always gentle. Aries doesn't always realize how intense they are until someone's feelings are already bruised. They're hard to love because they hate feeling controlled. Aries wants passion, adventure, directness. If you play games, they'll lose interest. If you cling, they'll pull away. If you challenge them, they'll argue not to hurt you, but because conflict feels like oxygen to their spirit. Aries often loves like a warrior, protecting, claiming, defending, but sometimes forgetting tenderness. Their shadow is impatience and pride. When Aries is hurt, they can become dramatic, impulsive, or cutting and later regret it. They may say things they don't mean just to release pressure. Loving Aries means surviving the heat without turning it into a war. But when Aries matures, they become fiercely loyal and unbelievably motivating. The key: be direct, be brave, and don't try to tame them, run beside them. Aries doesn't want a parent. They want a partner in adventure. Gemini hard to love because you're dating 2 seasons at once. Gemini is hard to love because they are constantly evolving. One day they're playful and obsessed with you. The next day they're quiet, distracted in their head, chasing a new idea. And their partner can feel like they're trying to hold wind in their hands. Gemini is hard to love because communication is both their gift and their defense. They can talk about everything except what truly hurts. They can flirt while feeling lonely. They can smile while hiding fear. And sometimes they leave emotional conversations too soon, not because they don't care, but because feelings can overwhelm their nervous system. Their shadow is inconsistency. They can seem unreliable, not because they're cruel, but because their curiosity pulls them in many directions. They may change plans, change moods, change perspectives, and their partner may feel uncertain about where they stand. But Gemini's love can be magical, witty, youthful, mentally stimulating, full of surprises. The key to loving Gemini is mental connection plus emotional honesty. Don't try to cage them. Keep the relationship alive, and encourage them to speak from the heart, not just the mind. Sagittarius hard to love because freedom comes first. Sagittarius is hard to love because they don't bond through routine, they bond through expansion. They want experiences, laughter, movement, growth. If love starts to feel heavy, possessive, or full of rules, Sagittarius gets restless fast. Their heart needs oxygen, and many partners mistake that for a lack of devotion. They're also hard to love because they cope with pain by joking, traveling, changing the subject, or staying positive. Sagittarius can be deeply sensitive, but they don't like sitting in emotional gravity for too long. If you need constant reassurance, they may feel pressured. If you demand they explain every mood, they may vanish just to breathe. Their shadow is bluntness. Sag can tell the truth like an arrow and forget that words have edges. They often don't mean to hurt you, they just hate pretending. And when they feel trapped, they can become unpredictable. A sudden breakup, a sudden distance, a sudden I need space. But once Sagittarius chooses you freely, they love with generosity and joy. The key is trust plus adventure plus room to be themselves. Don't try to own them. Inspire them. Laugh with them. Grow with them. Sagittarius stays when love feels like a journey, not a cage. 8. Leo hard to love because pride guards the heart. Leo is hard to love because their heart is huge, and therefore fragile. They want devotion, admiration, loyalty not because they're selfish, but because love is sacred to them. If they feel ignored or taken for granted, they don't just feel sad, they feel dishonored. And when Leo feels disrespected, the warmth can disappear fast. Leo is also hard to love because they often struggle to ask for what they need directly. Instead, they hope you'll notice. They want you to choose them loudly, proudly, consistently. If you don't, their shadow appears, drama, stubbornness, or emotional withdrawal. Not because they don't care, but because their pride says, I won't beg. Their dark advantage is self-respect. Leo won't stay where love is careless. And that's actually a gift, it pushes relationships to be real. The key to loving Leo is appreciation plus reassurance plus loyalty. Praise them sincerely. Protect their dignity. And remember, behind the crown is a heart that just wants to feel cherished. 9. Taurus hard to love because they don't let go easily. Taurus isn't hard to love at first, it's often comforting. The difficulty comes later, when change arrives. Taurus loves stability, predictability, loyalty, routines, physical affection, and a life that feels safe. If you're inconsistent, chaotic, or emotionally unpredictable, Taurus will struggle because they cannot relax in uncertainty. Taurus is hard to love because they can be stubborn. They may hold on to old arguments, old hurts, old expectations. They don't forgive quickly when trust is broken, and they don't reset easily after conflict. Sometimes they punish with silence, not to be cruel, but because they need time to feel secure again. But Taurus' shadow advantage is endurance. They don't abandon love just because it's difficult. If you treat them well, they become one of the most loyal partners in the zodiac. The key is consistency plus patience plus reliability. Don't rush them. Don't play games. And if you want Taurus heart, prove you're a safe place to land. Libra hard to love because they hide their real needs. Libra is often easy to fall for, charming, romantic, thoughtful, attractive. The difficulty is that Libra can be hard to truly read. They want peace so badly that they may avoid conflict, swallow feelings, or say it's fine when it's not fine at all. Loving Libra can feel like loving someone who is always smiling, while quietly collecting resentments. Libra is hard to love because indecision can become a lifestyle. They weigh every angle, fear making the wrong choice, and sometimes stay stuck between options. And if they're afraid of being disliked, they may people please, which makes their partner wonder, do you really want this, or are you just being nice? Their shadow advantage is social intelligence. Libra understands emotions, dynamics, timing. They can create harmony in chaos. The key to loving Libra is honesty plus reassurance plus safe conflict. Make it clear that disagreement doesn't mean rejection. When Libra feels safe to be real, they become one of the most devoted, romantic, and fair partners you can have. Cancer hard to love only if you don't understand their heart. Cancer ranks near the easiest, but they can be hard for people who fear emotional depth. Cancer feels everything. They remember everything. They love like a home, protective, nourishing, loyal. But if you're emotionally unavailable, Cancer will struggle because they need warmth, reassurance, and closeness like air. Cancer can be hard to love when they retreat into their shell. If hurt, they may become moody, quiet, or indirectly expressive, hoping you'll sense what's wrong. They might test your loyalty without saying they're testing. And if they don't feel safe, they can cling tightly to what comforts them. Their shadow advantage is devotion. Cancer doesn't love halfway. Once you're their person, they protect you with fierce tenderness. The key is emotional safety plus consistency plus gentleness. Speak your feelings. Show up. Be kind in conflict. When Cancer feels secure, loving them becomes one of the most comforting experiences in the zodiac. Pisces easiest to love but hard to hold if you're not kind. Pisces is the easiest to love because they love like music, soft, deep, forgiving, romantic, intuitive. They see the good in you even when you forget it exists. Pisces makes people feel understood without interrogation. Their angel energy is compassion, the kind that heals simply by being present. The only reason Pisces can be hard is because they absorb pain. If the relationship becomes harsh, cold, or emotionally neglectful, Pisces may escape into fantasy, silence, or sadness. They might struggle with boundaries, giving too much, forgiving too quickly, or staying in situations that drain them. And if they're repeatedly hurt, they won't always fight, they'll simply fade away. Their shadow advantage is spiritual resilience. Pisces can turn heartbreak into wisdom and tenderness into art. The key to loving Pisces is kindness plus clarity plus emotional responsibility. Don't confuse their softness for weakness. Protect their heart, and Pisces will love you in a way that feels like a blessing. Final truth: the hardest to love signs aren't cruel, they're guarded, intense, independent, or perfection driven. And the easiest to love signs aren't naive, they're open, empathetic, and emotionally brave.